Psalm chapter 2, verse 4, 5, and 6. He who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision, then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, as for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. As for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. He who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision, then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, as for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. As for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. So, Psalm 2 has, I read one commentator say, a fierce delight in the sovereignty of God. This joy that while nations and rulers and strong men have set themselves up against the Lord, opposing the Lord is a laugh. It's a joke. With what strength will you fight the Lord? With what breath will you curse the Lord? On whose ground will you brace to fight the Lord? It is a joke to defy the living God from whom all life comes. It's a joke to defy the living God who sustains all life, even the lives of those in rebellion against him. So, in verse 4, he who sits in the heavens laughs. You have the answer. You have the answer not from the downtrodden, but the answer from the Lord. And his answer is a laugh. Not because it's funny, it's a joke to imagine defying the living God. The consequences are not funny. It's a humorless joke. It's just laughable. It's like me trying to play against LeBron James or Michael Jordan. It's like me going toe to toe against an Olympic athlete. It's not even, that's just the tiniest window into what it truly is for anyone, any king, any man, any human to defy the living God, any spirit, any power. So it says in verse 4, he who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision. And look, I know people who have told me very passionately, they've said there are conspiracies, there are people in power who are misusing their power, they're abusing their power, they are wielding their influence in ways you don't even know. I believe you, but he who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision, and he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury. The voice of the Lord entering into the rebellion of man is a terrifying moment. I mean, have you ever been in a classroom that was chaos while the teacher was gone, and then the steps of the authority in the hall were returning, and suddenly there's fear? I certainly have been in a home where I was making a mess of my room, and then my parents pulled in the drive, and suddenly this reality that I was going to face the voice of the Lord. I was going to face the authority. That brings terror if you have been in rebellion against the Lord. And here's what he says. As for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. And that word set is it's a word that literally means to set in a position of rule. To set means to enthrone, means to coronate. This is a promise from the living God that not only is the anointed, this character that is coming, not only is he chosen to fight against injustice and to take the persecution and the abuse of the kings of the earth, but also his position as ruler of the earth is secure. I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. I think of this, there's this character in a TV show named Queel, and he'll say something, and then when someone tries to argue with him, he'll just say, I have spoken. And then he walks away, and it's really epic. This idea that I said it, I meant it, we're done. And this is the living God who has said about his anointed, which literally in Greek they translate the Christ. This is the title that is given to Jesus. His name is Jesus, and his title is the Christ, the anointed. But hundreds of years before, this psalm writer says, the Lord speaks, and just the sound of his voice terrifies the wicked. And then what's even more terrifying is what he has to say. What he has to say is, as for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. We'll sing it one more time. He who sits. He who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision, and he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, as for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. As for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. He who sits in the heavens, he who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision, then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, as for me, I have set my